Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Baat Kardi. So, before we begin, I would just like to wish everyone across the globe a very, very happy Eid Mubarak. Um, I know many of you who might be listening right now might have some complicated feelings surrounding Eid. Many of you might be celebrating away from family this time around. Many of you might just be all alone this Eid. So I just wanted to take this moment to acknowledge all of those who are away from loved ones and don't necessarily have anyone to celebrate this time around with. So yeah, um, I see you and I hold you in my hearts. So for my non-Muslim listeners, Eid is basically a celebration festival that happens twice a year. It happens after the month of Ramadan concludes, and then also happens to celebrate the occasion of Hajj, which is the mass pilgrimage that Muslims take to Mecca. And yeah, the idea is basically to get together with family, friends, and just have a nice time with good food, good energy, good vibes, and yeah, so this is going to be my first Eid away from family. Um, as I mentioned earlier, this was my first Ramadan away from family, and while it felt like the first couple of episodes passed by fairly quickly, um, the last few definitely caught up with me. Um, Having to deal with class and assignments and just be 100% throughout this time when I didn't really have any proper support was rough. And I was expecting it to be so. I wasn't surprised by that fact. Um, but sometimes things just catch you in a way that you weren't expecting them to. And this felt like one of those. I managed to get through all 30 days of Ramzan without any major incident. There were a couple of days where I was just so confused about the time because the Imam Barga that I follow here in Cardiff, for some reason, they just never updated their prayer timings on their website from February to March, which is really funny to me. So, again, for my non Muslim listeners, we fast from daybreak to sunset. So basically, when the sun is rising and when the sun is completely set. So, a good way to just know when the fast can be broken is when the sun has completely set and there's no light within the sky. Now, my confusion was that while there was no light per se, there was still like a blue hue and like blueness in the sky. And for quite some time, I was basically just waiting for all of that blue to go away um, before I could open my fast. So I was effectively fasting an extra 15, 20 minutes, sometimes if not more than that. And some days it was fine. Some days it just got really, really exhausting at that point. Up until like the final 10 days, one day I was just walking to get food right before iftar, and I called up my dad. I had him on video call. I was like, listen, I've checked these sources. They say that the fast is going to open at 6:38. I think it was that day. It's currently 6:34. This is what the sky looks like. It's obviously going to get darker in the next couple of minutes as well, but there's still a blueness in the sky. Am I okay? He's like, yeah, you're fine. I was like, okay, but there's still a blue tone, and you know, back home, more often than not, even that would go away, and it was just proper dark. So he's like, no, 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 you're fine, you're fine. If you've checked like these sources and they've said that this is the time, then that's the time. Just don't worry about it and just open your fast as per usual. And I was like, okay, fine. So that's what I did. And God, like I still find it so funny that for so many days at that point, I was just waiting extra just to open my fast. Um, and good God, I'm just hoping that God realizes the levity of the situation and understands my position during those days and is just like, you know what, maybe just a little bit more reward for you, just a little bit. And then yeah, I think I deserve it just a little bit, but I don't know. That's just me. But yeah, um, Ramzan passed by mostly with no incident apart from this, and I'm not gonna lie. Honestly, I started feeling it after a while. Just the fact that I was doing this all alone, and it's Ramzan is meant to be one of those things that you share with family and share with friends and loved ones in general because it's a time to bring people together and it's a time to just focus on you and just trying to be better. The idea is stemmed on letting go of as much worldly pleasures as you can and trying to find your way back to religion and just being a better Muslim during these 29 to 30 nights. Um, but I digress. To me, it came down to the fact that this was just another challenge of living alone. This was just another part of the experience that I have signed on for. And honestly, it could have been a lot worse than what it was. I am glad that I was able to survive it for all that it was worth because I really don't know what circumstance would have been like if I was just completely like out of it, right? Like I just had like nothing to go off of. But I'm glad that I was in a position where I could still talk to my family on a fairly regular basis. I checked in with my mom, I checked in with my dad, I checked in with my siblings, and yeah, it was nice. Normally in Ramzan, you're invited to iftars out with friends, with extended family, sometimes colleagues if your workplace is fairly decent. And for me, the first time this time around um, was a organization that was actually hosting within the Cardiff uh, within like a Cardiff Muslim community center, and it was really lovely. Um, it was quite interesting because it was a community organizing event where we had just gotten together to have people from different communities and different beliefs just getting together to have a conversation, and it was a wonderful evening of getting to know so many different people and listening to their stories and sharing some of mine. And yeah, it was really lovely. I actually sat there and opened my fast. I think so. There were a couple of priests there. I don't know if they stayed until the end to open our fast, but it was a really lovely evening. Normally, I'd end up Ramzan with like at least a couple of iftars. This time around, it was just the one iftar, so that was a little bit sad. But you know, you win some, you lose some, I guess, in that capacity. So um, at the time of recording, it is Eid for some in the UK, whereas some would be celebrating tomorrow. It's a really weird concept to me that half the country basically follows Saudi. And when they say that the moon has been seen, and that's when they decide that Ramzan has started, Ramzan has ended, and Eid is or Eid is not. And whereas the other half actually tries to find the moon within the UK, so some are celebrating today, which is a Friday, and then some will be celebrating tomorrow, which is a Saturday. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, which is really funny to me. Um, Growing up in Pakistan my entire life, I've always been used to one day for Eid. Um, Whereas we do have like our friends in the Bori community who do have their already set calendar and they know when their month is gonna start and when it's gonna end. So shout out to them because they have their stuff sorted. Good for them. We still need to rely on 90,000-year-old men and their barely working eyes to try to find a moon for us through haze, fog, and God knows what else. But at least we had Eid on one day. This is just a weird concept to me living abroad. And it's not just like a UK centric thing. Apparently, it happens in Australia and like a bunch of other places abroad as well, which is really strange to me. But cool, I guess. I guess it's just one of the eccentricities of living here. But yeah, I think many of us who might be celebrating alone this time around, um, many of us might just be feeling a kind of like sadness inside because this isn't normal. This isn't what we're used to. And to those of you, I would highly implore you to not just sit and reminisce about the family that you've left behind, but try to find a family of your own while you are wherever you are, because you deserve to celebrate every occasion that you would normally be celebrating. I understand that it's not going to be the same, but unfortunately, most things don't really stay the same, no matter how much we may want them to. People don't stay the same, places don't stay the same, food doesn't stay the same. So, why should rituals and traditions? This Eid, I would ask you to make a new tradition. Call out your friends, even if they're not Muslim. Call up anyone you can and just ask them to meet up and just celebrate Eid with you, irrespective of what their skin color is, irrespective of what their religion is, irrespective of who they choose to love, whatever it is. Eid is about a time of celebration and happiness and joy and sharing in just that happiness, you know? It's about getting together, having a nice meal, sharing love. Why can't we just do that with anyone, right? If we don't have our our blood families, why can't we just make a family of our own? So if this message is reaching you and if this makes sense to you, I hope you choose not to spend this Eid alone, because you shouldn't be spending Eid alone. You should get the chance to enjoy Eid the same way you would if you were still in wherever you were, whether it be Pakistan, whether it be India, whether it be Bangladesh, wherever it would be. You deserve the opportunity to feel loved and feel connected and feel like you still have some sense of community around you. Because I don't know, like I just don't like the idea of anyone being alone on a holiday that would normally be celebrated with loved ones. No one should feel alone for moments like this. While I'm here, I have um, classmates and friends who are Christian, and they would have been celebrating Christmas alone. So they invited some of us together just to have like Christmas dinner together, and it was absolutely lovely. You know, the idea that you don't need anything specific to continue the traditions that you've grown up with and the traditions that you've loved all your life, because the best part of being an adult is that you're no longer bound by situations outside your control. You can change things up how you feel, and you can make new traditions. You can customize old traditions. You can basically do whatever the hell you want, and no one's going to stop you, because why would they? How would they? You know? Um, but I digress, you know? Um, I contemplated recording this episode or not because I wasn't really even sure anyone wanted to hear this, and I wasn't really sure what I was going to say, because what can you say in this kind of situation, you know? Um, for me, this is a very sensitive topic because I've grown up in a joint family where every day, the first day of Eid, again, sorry for for our non-Muslim listeners, Eid is like a 3-day event, and depending on when it falls within the week, if there's a Muslim majority government or like a secular government where like there is a high population of Muslims, they will give one extra day of Eid. So it's like 4 days of Eid, where whatever, right? So the first day of Eid is usually reserved for a big family feast. And then second and third days are for friends and extended family. So my family would always host the Eid feast because my grandfather was the eldest in his family, in his brothers and sisters. So his family would visit us on the first day of Eid and would all have like a nice Eid lunch together. And it was just one of those things that I have become so accustomed to that not having it tomorrow is just going to feel really, really strange. Like I won't have to wake up super early to go for Eid namaz with my uncle and my dad, and I'm not gonna go get to visit my grandmother and ask her for Eid, I'm not gonna come home after the namaz absolutely just bone tired and out of my mind because I didn't really sleep the night prior. And just come and greet my mum and wish her Eid Mubarak. So it's gonna be a bit of a challenge. You know, I saw I saw a reel earlier that we're at that point in our lives where we need to call our parents to see their faces and say Eid Mubarak rather than getting to do it in person. So that one just stung a little bit, but you know, it comes part and parcel with the decision I've made to branch out here and try to do things however they come. So yeah, I don't know if anyone is gonna get where I'm coming from with this. I don't know if anyone is gonna feel what I'm feeling, but if you do and this makes sense, then you know you're not alone. I see you and I'm looking out for you. I'm praying for you, and yeah, that's all I can say because this is all so uncertain and there's no really telling how any of us are going to be experiencing any of this or feeling any of this. I know so many people who probably won't be celebrating Eid this time around just because they've lost family and friends. I know there's so many who are feeling overwhelmed with everything that's going on in the world and they don't feel right celebrating. And I completely get where they're coming from as well. Like many of us across the globe are feeling so many different things because we feel so powerless at the grave injustices that are going on across the globe. It is just maddening to think that over half the world is currently fighting it out, and there's just nothing that we, the people, can do. I can't even fathom it. That simultaneously life goes on, you know, and the entire month of Ramzan went and gone. Eid is tomorrow, Eid is today, and yeah, I'm not going to dictate what anyone should do, whether they should or shouldn't celebrate, whether they should or should not feel a certain way, because that is between you and your belief. That is your thing. That is not for me to say about. But if you are celebrating, if you are taking the time to hold space for the people who are no longer here and for whatever is going on in the world right now, then I see you. And yeah, I feel like the last couple of episodes has been more of like nothing burgers really. They didn't really have any sort of structure or flow. I'm really sorry about that, you guys. I hope you know that I'm not just doing this for the sake of doing this. Sometimes I feel like I am doing it for the sake of doing it, but I do try. I do try because this has been something very, very consistent that I've been doing for some time now, and I really want to stick it out because it's, as much as it might be for anyone listening, it's for me too. It's a way for me to just try to keep putting myself out there and keep trying to do better every single week. I hope that every single week I have a story to share or I have something to talk about with you guys, and there's actively something important to share. Sometimes importance varies in degree, but it is what it is. So, yeah, uh, I think I'm going to end this right here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really, really appreciate every single person who actually takes the time to listen to this, whether you guys are watching this video on YouTube or you're listening to wherever you get your podcast from. I genuinely, genuinely appreciate it. And any and every bit of support is more than I will ever be able to convey, but I will absolutely try my best to continue doing so. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you all in the very next episode. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.